Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, welcome back again to the Idaho Business Podcast. We're here today with Oscar Klassen, CEO and co-founder of JawsTech 3D Printing. Before we get to his introduction and more about his interesting his company and what they're doing out there, I have to tell you, we are sponsored by Dell's Outdoor Advertising. These guys are just amazing at helping you get in front of your potential clients, giving you top of mind awareness for what's coming up in your company, what type of campaigns you want them to see with traditional and digital advertising with billboards. They have locations in Pocatello and throughout Blackfoot, and they also have a digital billboard right on 915. So, anything you need for freeway traffic, they have that. They have you covered. So, if you mention that you heard about them on the podcast, call Rob at 232-6886 and tell them, and they will give you a free month for your installation for free as you sign up for a 3-month deal with a billboard. So that's the deal for the podcast. Now on to Oscar. Oscar, thanks for coming to the show today.
Glad to be here.
Oscar, he and I grew up in the same stomping grounds of Aberdeen and American Falls area. So he obviously comes from good roots, good people. He went on to Idaho State University, spent some time there in the electronics and electrical world engineering, and then finished up his education at Arizona State University with his bachelor's in engineering. And now he is the CEO and co-founder of JawsTech. It's a 3D printing service, that they are pretty much printing things for automotive, the dental world, and the manufacturing industries, providing prototypes and small and medium production runs for customers. So did I get anything wrong, Oscar?
No, not really. I never actually finished my degree, but that's besides probably, but
yeah.
Got close.
That's irrelevant. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But that's pretty much it. Started JawsTech about 2018. Took it off from there. We started with one printer. Kind of a unique situation that we managed to get ourselves into, where we could find itself paying for itself within the first 6 months, or we could send it back. It ended up working out for us on the very 6th month. So we managed to keep the machine, and about 3 months later, we needed another one. So kind of a unique situation to be in. First year was probably myself and accounting. And that was about it, running the whole operation. So
that sounds about right for a startup.
Yeah, I learned a lot. There was no teacher like failure. It was interesting doing all the calls. That's one thing I do struggle with is cold calling people, trying to get them to buy stuff. It's not something I enjoy. But now, as we're going into it, I really do enjoy this industry. I've made a lot of unique acquaintances, colleagues. We're doing a lot of business for larger companies now that are in this industry. So the big names of the brands that we're competing against, we're also doing business for. So it's quite a unique situation to be in. And that's really how we've grown. So now, after about 4 years in business, we're sitting at about 13 printers. We've got 6 CNC machines, and then just over 25 employees now. So.
Wow, man, that's incredible. It's incredible growth.
Yes.
And your family's not, you're not strangers to the technology world.
No.
I've got it. Everyone pretty much knows, especially in this area, the Bully Dog name.
Yep.
And your father was one of the owners of the Bully Dog company.
Yep.
So yeah, they grew that thing up, and we're able to sell that, and now they're branching off and doing stuff like this. This is great.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a unique situation. We never thought or at least they never thought they would go into the manufacturing world.
Sure.
But it turned into more of a technology manufacturing. 3D printing is the up and coming technology, right along with all the other unique aspects of EV and AI and cryptocurrencies. 3D printing is right next to it all.
Yeah.
Unique opportunities for supply chain management, instant manufacturing. It's going to be the way that path forward. And really, at least what we've tried to do is provide it as cheaply and efficiently as possible for the high quality stuff that you can get.
See, I like that. So, help me understand 3D printing a little bit more, because I've only seen like how my buddy's got like a small little 3D printer that does little, funny things with, but so you're manufacturing things for all sorts of industries. So you must be able to print on with some pretty heavy duty material to make them pretty robust.
Definitely. Yeah. So a really good example of kind of what we're doing is in the automotive industry. We do some air intakes for aftermarket companies. Okay. So these air intakes are, I don't know, about half an inch thick in some places. Wow. Nice and thick, and they're holding over 200 PSI. For these parts, we're printing about 1.5 feet long by about 2 feet tall. There's some big pieces that go straight into your engine. These aren't your typical vehicles. They're going to be your BMWs, your Mercedes. They want lightweight but high quality, and that's what these machines can do. So it's a unique situation to be in. The machines that we're running here, think industrial size fridge. That's the 3D printer we're using. We're not using a desktop printer or slightly larger than that. That's just pressing material down onto a bed. This printer is powder pushed into a build chamber that is then heated up layer by layer, doing about 5,000 layers in 24 hours. So it will do anywhere between 20 to 2,000 parts a build. So we can just start out parts, and that's it. So if you only had 20 parts in the build, it will still take 24 hours if you're going all the way to the top. If you have 2,000 parts, it still only takes 24 hours. So it's a unique printing option. There's no need for supports, so it's nice and easy to pull all the pieces out, clean them off, and you've got a nice smooth surface finish. Obviously, every technology has a little bit of a tricky learning curve, so we get part quality issues and stuff where there's too much heat in the build and it will actually deform the edge of your part or something. So that's all something that we've had to kind of build into our process. Probably one of the hardest things that I've had to deal with here is learning how to run the quality control, figuring out what the customer deems acceptable and what they don't, and then being able to catch that before we ship the part. If you couldn't stick it in a box and set it on the shelf in Walmart and someone would be happy with it, I don't want to send it to you. That's right. Basically the thought process behind it. And sometimes jobs will be quite profitable because you don't have to worry about as much quality control, or they're coming out perfect every time. Other jobs, you're eating all that away and become negative pretty quick if you have too many issues and poor design and stuff like that, all taken into account, which makes it a little tricky because we just accept anyone's design pretty much. If we see there could be a problem, then we would contact them and say, hey, I think there needs to be an adjustment here. Some materials, we do a polypropylene material, which is chemical resistant. So you can use as a gas can or something like that. Print it, throw your gas in there. It's not going to leak. It's not going to do any issue. It's pretty cool technology. At the same time, you can't do it too thick because that material will actually heat up and explode while it's printing. So it's not quite an explosion. It will just like a bubble popping. But think of that as molten plastic blowing up in the middle of a build. So not ideal.
Yeah, no bueno.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's interesting. So since you're kind of in the midst of an agricultural area, have you guys found any inroads in the agricultural business with the printing?
Yeah. So initially, we actually started out printing some drones for agricultural use.
Really, so drones? Wow, that's crazy.
So these drones would go and fly 160 acres, taking images, and mostly just for seed count. But they're trying to get better technology on those cameras to actually be able to tell like nitrogen levels in the soil, hot spots in the area. It's pretty cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so I don't think they've been able to necessarily get as much data off the cameras as they want to, but that's kind of where we first started, was printing these drones for them. Outside of that, we do a little bit of things for farmers in the area. We've done some stuff for Knutson irrigation, just on a couple gears and pieces that they're looking to develop and manufacture and stuff. We've done a couple other smaller projects for other companies around in this local area too. It's amazing the demand that there is just in this area of Idaho. We get a lot of orders from Boise, Twin Falls, Idaho Falls, and Pocatello areas.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to see the Idaho economy's up and well and living strong. That's
Exactly.
we spoke with a commercial real estate agent in Boise a couple episodes ago, and he said the same thing, that even though in the midst of all this economic crisis throughout the country, Idaho is still kind of in there kicking. So that's good to hear. Well, awesome, man. What's your favorite part of the business so far?
Favorite part is probably innovating a little bit. So I love the side of what 3D printing can provide to already a well-established industry. We get a lot of people. I mean, a key example would be in the medical field, the amount of people starting to utilize 3D printing for individuals rather than a generic group. So a key example would be like braces for your ankles or knees or arms or something like that. All those can be uniquely designed around a specific person. So they fit perfectly. They'll support exactly the way they should. They're not just a generic one you buy in the store. So we're doing quite a bit of that for different companies, as well as we do a couple surgery learning kits, pretty much. So we print the interior of an organ so that they can then go in and do surgery with their students and teach them how to run surgeries properly.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's a very cool, and it's crazy what people are starting to try to innovate and change up their industry doing that. Automotive is a great example. Lighter parts, stronger parts, and now completely tailored around whatever your engine is doing. So you can make your engine however you want, and you can fit this air intake around a part now. You're not having to make a solid box that goes in your car. You can make a organic looking tube that rolls over. Your engine is going to start looking more like organs wrapped around each other because you can. That's
crazy.
That's awesome to me, the innovation that's going to start coming forward.
Yeah, that's crazy. I like that, man. So as a CEO, as a startup, there's probably been a lot of learning experiences. People call them mistakes. I just call them learning experiences because obviously you're growing from it. What's maybe the biggest learning experience you've had as a CEO in this world of a startup?
Probably one that is a tough one to swallow is you can't make everyone happy.
Yeah.
That's really difficult because I always thought that, okay, we'll start this and everyone will like our product and it will all be good. And there's just been some situations where either they didn't understand 3D printing or they didn't know what manufacturing issues could happen and stuff. And we ended up parting ways. And the first couple of times that happened, like we had a customer say that our parts were too sandy, which we're printing a powder material. So the edge is slightly rougher than your typical part, but there's ways we can get around that with tumbling and smoothing the part and stuff. And we offered these situations to them, but they were so set that it was too sandy that it was completely unusable. And I believe they were just using it for fit. And it was like, so not understanding the situation that we're in. We're trying to help you fix it. So we ended up just giving the customer a refund, and we were like, unfortunately, this isn't going to work. And that phone call was the hardest one that I probably had to deal with. Is just understanding, like, how do I explain this well enough? It's definitely the biggest challenge I've had is almost dealing with the customer aspect of a business. Definitely the hardest thing that I didn't necessarily know about, and really can't learn that too much from a textbook or anything. It is, once you dive into it, having to explain the best possible way and outcome, and just realize that I don't think there's anything I can do for you at this point in time. So
yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Trying to set realistic expectations for the people you're trying to provide value and provide these services for,
Yeah, exactly. We want to provide the best part. We want to make it look, if you install it in your car, you can't tell the difference from the 3D printed part to the car part. And for the most part, we can do that now, but it all depends on design and print orientation and a couple different factors. And if it's just not quite what the customer expected to see, it's hard to change their outlook on that. So
it is. And I feel like setting a realistic expectation from the get-go, you're getting, it's almost like in PR, because part of my degree was in public relations at ISU. And it's all about getting ahead of the problem. So you're not trying to say anything that you're going to have any kind of promise, but if you're helping them understand the realistic aspect of this process and helping them understand. So if you need a finished product and not just something, that's in beta for you to test, you're going to have to do A, B, and C. If you just want something, so it's interesting, isn't it, to really get that, because once you get it, and once they have that grasp of that realistic expectation, then it's a lot more smooth sailing. The Idaho Business Podcast is sponsored by New Clean Commercial Cleaning. This is my company, guys. I'm telling you, I'm not just because I'm the owner, the creator of it, but we are a great company for servicing your janitorial needs, your carpet cleaning needs, your stripping wax needs, all your floor maintenance needs. We are there for you. And everything is backed up by the "we're not perfect" guarantee. And if it's pretty much, if you call and we don't get a hold, you don't get a hold of us, we will call you back within an hour and fix the problem within 24 hours, or the cleaning's on us. So that is our promise to you. And if you call or go into the Idaho Business Podcast website, click on the New Clean logo and book a janitorial solution huddle with us, and mention that you heard about us on the podcast, you'll get two free restroom floor cleanings for your office for free. Tile and grout in your restrooms will be sparkling clean. And that's the offer. Tell you, take us up on it. You won't regret it. There's no strings attached. So go see them today. See ya.
This is the end of part 1 of a 2-part episode. Tune in next time to hear part 2.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.